Well, hey everybody, it is Monday night. You know what that means? It's Check In Monday. Grateful to have you with me on tonight. It is always a pleasure to have you with me on Monday nights to share and to talk and have a conversation about various things that's going on in life. And it is good to be in the land of the living. If you don't believe it, just check it out. It's just good to be here, and it's good to have good health and be in your right mind and all that kind of things. We see those things that are taking place in Hawaii and with the fires and stuff and the loss of life. And every day that you make it through another day, you ought to be giving God praise and giving him glory that he's allowed you to still be alive and in the land of the living. And so we're just grateful to God for all that he has done. And so this is Monday, and we check in, amen, all around the world. We check in. Some of you view it live, and then some of you go back and view it later and make comments. But the purpose of this is to check in. We started this a couple of years ago before the pandemic, and then the pandemic hit, and we were just checking in with one another to make sure our loved ones were fine, make sure our friends were fine. And so we called it Check In Monday. And we give a little time of inspiration here. Also, while we're doing this, we're making a podcast. And so it's being played, and others are tuned into the podcast around the world. And so we're always just grateful to have you with us. And so do me a favor, if you're here tonight, do this for me. Like, share, make comments. Please share it with someone. Share with your contacts, with your contacts on whether you're Facebook or YouTube. Just make contact tonight, and let's do that on tonight. Well, we're going to jump right into this. I want to be sharing with you tonight something that I believe is very powerful, something that I shared, and I want to share it with you. And so let me get right into it tonight. And let me, I want to make sure I pull it up, something that I shared recently. And so I want to, I really want to share it again. And let me do this real quick, and so I can do it the way I need to do it. And we're going to share it with you tonight. There we go. All right, I want to save this so I can really look at it and share it with you tonight. And let me, there we go. All right, gotcha. We're right there. All right, let's see who's here. And let me bring these comments on screen. Y'all be nice. But let me bring these comments on. All right, I see. Let me make an adjustment on it just to make sure. And we're going to make sure the comments are where we need them to be. And let's see. I'll bring this. Make sure I got all the comments here. There we go. All right. Okay. All right. So here we go. We're back, and just going to be sharing with you for a few minutes tonight. Well, tonight I want to talk to you about something that I think is very important. How y'all doing? This is Austin, this is Cunningham, this is Shears, Brother Morgan. Hey, Bishop Dennis Morgan from California. I tell you, everybody calls me that, but y'all know I'm not a bishop, right? But y'all can call me whatever you want to. That's your prerogative. But anyway, let me get into this tonight. Hey, Shantae, I'm praying for you. I want to get into this tonight. I want to talk to you about some people that you will never, ever forget in your entire life, no matter what's going on. There's some people you will never forget, and there's some people you should never, ever forget. You shouldn't let anybody make you forget them. You shouldn't let anybody do anything to make you go and look sideways at them. I want you to do that. Hey, tell your grandmother I said hello. I know she's still here. We're praying for the Moore family. Sante just lost a father, but we're praying for them. Um, so let's look at this. I want to really talk to you tonight about this, and that is some people you should never forget, and in your life, some people. I want to just, and I'm sure you can name some more things about it, but I want to just name a few, four things that I think you should never forget. There's some people you will never ever forget. There's some people you should never forget. Now, I know that we live in a day that people have naturally, you can have Alzheimer's and you can have forgetfulness where you forget stuff. But I'm telling you, there's some people that have come into your life, some people that have been around that you should never ever forget. You shouldn't allow people to make you forget. You shouldn't allow people to make you turn and have an attitude with certain people and with certain groups. You just shouldn't do it because sometimes they may feel a certain way, but it does not necessarily mean you should feel the same way, or you don't have to feel the same way because someone else feels that same way. And so there's some people you should never forget, and there's some people you will never forget. Let's go through this real quickly tonight, and I'm not going to be long, but there are people that you will never forget in your life, that you will never ever forget. Why when you forget them? Well, number one, the person that you will never forget is, number one, the person that prayed for you. That's right. The person that prayed for you, you will never, ever forget the person that really prayed for you. I'm not talking about just talk to you. I'm talking about prayed for you in your darkest moment, in your darkest hour, in your darkest time, when you were in somewhere between here, there, when you were in the valley of decision. That person that prayed for you is a person you'll never forget. There's some people that prayed for you that changed your life. They changed your direction. They changed the way you were going. And you should never, ever forget the person that prayed for you. And don't allow people to make you forget the person that prayed for you. Because, you know, sometimes people, they don't understand and they don't know. But there's some people, when you were at the hour in your life that maybe you were on the cusp or on the border of committing suicide, or the border right on the brink of something disastrous happening. But somebody came along and prayed for you. If the Lord either put them on on their spirit, but they prayed for you. And because they prayed, you are where you are today. And you came out of that thing because they prayed for you. And we should always remember who prayed for us. You should never forget the person that prayed for you, the person that called your name, the person that really prayed to help you come through. You should never, ever forget that individual. And I know sometimes, you know, people, they don't understand, so they don't get it. But there's some people that have prayed for me that I will never forget. And some of them, they're no longer here. But they prayed for me at an hour that I needed prayer. They were an intercessor. They were ones that prayed for me. I never forget my late spiritual mother, evangelist Clara Strong, that was out of Milwaukee. I never forget when she traveled with us for an extended period of time, a brief period of time. And I was an evangelist and all that. But I never forget, every day at 3 o'clock, she would knock on our door. We couldn't even hide from her. She was a great woman of prayer. And she would come knock on our door at 3 o'clock every day at the hotel. And she said, let's go, y'all. And she would take us to her room and pray with us and pray for us and lead us in prayer and instill in us that you need to do this. And so she was a great influence in my life when I met her. The first time I'd heard her, I didn't meet her in person. I heard her on a tape. And she was ministering from the subject concerning David. And the subject was, "Thou art the man." I never forget the message. And I heard on the tape, then I met her in person. and she embraced me, gravitated to me. And when she did, I want to tell you that I will never forget her. And she's been gone for a number of years, but I will never forget her. I will never forget my mother, Mother Pace, that would pray. There was a period of time when I was waking up in early in the morning, and it was so much pressure on my head that it felt like my head was about to pop, and I could feel it back in. It would go almost numb, and I could feel it. And it would be 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, and I would call Mother Pace, and she would just 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning go to praying, and I could feel that thing easing up and easing off of my head. And during that time, the enemy would tell me, you about to have an aneurysm. You're gonna die. But you never forget the people that prayed for you. And I want to emphasize that. Don't ever forget people that really prayed for you, that interceded for you, people that had you on their prayer list, and they didn't get any benefit from it as far as money and all that stuff. They weren't trying to get you as a son or a daughter, but they were praying for you, genuinely praying for you. They were concerned at your darkest hour, at your most vulnerable time. They were praying for you. So you never forget the people that prayed for you. Never forget them. Number 2, you never forget the person that fed you when you were hungry. Never forget the person that fed you when you were hungry. And some of us, I know we're quick to forget, but we have to remember that there are times that all of us have been in need. And when I say fed, I'm not just really talking about food, but they've come through for us on occasions and things that when we were at a point that we maybe were about to lose everything or something was going on. You never forget the people that fed you when you were hungry. And I have to keep saying this because it's important. Don't allow people, your friends and associates, to make you forget the people that really fed you. Because sometimes, I want to tell you something, sometimes the people that make you forget and make you get indifference toward people that fed you, they have never fed you. They are not going to feed you, and they're only with you for what they can get from you or whatever. And so you never forget the people that fed you, people that really were there for you, and people that help you out. I can't forget people that when I was a young evangelist that made sure I was okay. My family was okay. I can't forget people like that. I don't get indifference. And there's not anything you could tell me to make me dislike them or not like them, because they were there before I had a name. They were there before I was sitting in front of this camera. They were there before anything happened. They were there to make sure I was okay. And a lot of times it's amazing how people will forget people that were really there for them. I don't get it. I mean, they just sort of forget. And here's the part that I really don't get. They will go and grab a hold of people that haven't done anything for them and give them all the credit for something they didn't do. Did y'all hear what I just said? Give them all the credit for something they didn't do. Now, we're not pushing for credit, but I'm just telling you that you should never forget the person that really fed you. Because when a person feeds you, when you're hungry and they come through, whether it's financial things. I remember one time, and I won't call the name of the person. If I did, you all would know them. But I remember one time I was in a crisis, and this was before maybe 2 years, maybe 2 or 3 years before the pandemic. I was in a crisis in my life financially. It was a time that it was just so difficult, and I needed the amount of money I needed. Oh my God, it was, if I told you what it was, it was more than 1,000, more than 2. I needed a great amount of money because if I didn't get it, I was going to, some things were going to happen as far as my house and other stuff. And I didn't know how I was going to do it. But there was one person that when I talked to them and told them what was going on, they said to me, "How much do you need?" And I told them how much I needed, and they sent it to me. Are y'all listening at me? Sent it to me. And when they sent it to me, then I was prepared to give it back to them. And they said, "Oh, no, you don't have to pay that back. The Lord told me to give it to you." And they've done that on more than one occasion. But my point is, that person, if they called me and they said, "Could you do this for me? I want to see," or either advice, I'm never too busy for them because I remember they helped me, they fed me, and you know the old saying that you don't bite the hand that feeds you, and some of us, we haven't learned that because we think because we've got other people that have come along that they're gonna be there, but you got to work and you got to understand everybody is not dependable. And some people are not like that. And so you have to understand that God will bless you, but you never forget those persons that came through for you when you didn't have anything. Are y'all listening at me? You got to remember that. I remember a pastor friend of mine invited me. He had a ministry, and I used to go preach for him when I would go into his church. He had one aisle, and on this side he had some chairs, but he had one aisle, and I would go and the pulpit sit over to the left, and then on in the back you went through it wasn't even a door, it was some curtains. You went through the curtains, and when you went through the curtains, it was that's where the restroom was, and he had a small office. Well, time went on, and he grew, and his ministry expanded, and he got a mega church. It was mega church. It was a big church and all that. And so when he was getting ready to have, I think it was his 30th anniversary for his church anniversary, he called me, and he said, "I want you to come and speak for me on my 30th anniversary." Was the big Sunday. He said, "I want you to come speak for me." And I said, "Okay." He said, "I know I've had other people to come. And he started naming all these well-known preachers, and some of you, if I call the name, you would know them. He said, "I've had them to come." He said, "But the reason I want you to come is because you were there when none of them would come to me, when none of them knew me, when my church didn't seat but 50 people. Anytime I called you, you would always come. And so I want to give you the honor of speaking for me on this 30th year anniversary, this grand occasion." You've got to understand that sometimes we forget. Sometimes we get so big we forget the people that helped us. We don't remember the people that fed us. We want to hang with people that's got everything, but remember the people that were with you when you didn't have anything. Remember the people that came and gave you a ride when you couldn't afford to give them gas money. Remember the people that went in and took you shopping and bought you stuff. Now, I'm not saying you got to always be, no, I'm not saying that. But you should never forget, and you should never let people make you forget those people. I don't care how they feel about them. What they feel about them is their business. But you shouldn't do that because of the fact that you remember the hand that fed you when you were hungry. And you should always remember that. There's some people, they took good care of me. And I'll never forget them. Never. Just won't. Won't ever forget them. And sometimes they may call me about something, and they'll say, "Well, Pastor, what you going to charge me?" I'm charging you nothing. I can pay you for this. No, you can't either. No, you can't pay me. What you can't pay me anything. I'm gonna do this and make sure it's done for you, and you don't have to worry about paying me. Well, why? Because when I was at rock bottom, and as my uncle used to say, didn't have a shoe and a boot, nothing but a shoe and a boot. You came through, invited me when others would not do it, and so now, no way. And so these are people you never forget. Person that prayed for you, person that fed you when you were hungry. Number three, and I'm almost done. The next person that you'll never forget, and I'm sure some of you can attest and say some things about whatever. But another person you never forget is the person that fought for you. Don't ever forget the person that really fought for you. Now, I know there are a lot of people pretending to fight for you. There are a lot of people that act like they were, and at the same time, they were trying to sabotage you behind the scene. But I'm talking about remembering, never forget people that fought for you. People that came through, they fought for you. And you got to remember, there's some people fought for you, and it jeopardized their thing. It jeopardized where they were going. But they fought for you. They called your name. They were pushing for you. And sometimes because they were pushing for you, they were neglected or they were put out and or they were not included because they were fighting for you. And some of us know there are people that fought for us. They fought, they did everything, and they fought for us. And some of us have to remember that. I know we don't like to talk about, because we got this thing in our mind that we think a lot of people that are fighting for us are not fighting for us. They don't want you to be successful. They don't want you to make it. But when you find a person that's fighting for you and has fought for you, you don't forget that person, because they put sometimes their careers on the line. They put their things on the line. But they fought for you. Of course, the late Bishop G. Patterson is gone, of course. Mother Patterson is gone, and both of them are gone, and I was close to both of them. And even after Bishop Patterson passed away, I was still close to Mother Patterson. And I couldn't forget them because they fought for me. They fought for me. And when you find people that fight for you, that go to bat for you, that put your name in when others don't want you in, then you learn to never forget them, whether they're dead or alive. People fighting for me. You got somebody fighting for you. You better understand. I thank God that they fought for me, made sure I was okay. I got others that fought for me. They said, "Oh no," and they fought for me. And some of you can understand. You got people that have fought for you. And I'm not just talking about church, on your job. People have fought for you when they don't want you to have the promotion. Folk fought for you. Some people, when they were trying to kill your name, your character, kill who you were, there were people behind the scenes said, "No, it's not like that." And they were fighting for you to make sure. And you should never forget the people that fought for you. Don't get this thing in your mind that people, because they got you around. You got to understand, some people don't fight for you. They only want you around for their benefit of what they can get out of you. Okay, I better leave that alone, because that's a whole different thing I could get into. Some people are not fighting. They only want you around for their benefit, because everything they do that you think they're doing for you is not for you, it's benefiting them. And you need to find and remember who really fought for you. I mean, who almost lost their career for you, who almost lost their family for you, who almost lost everything for you. And you shouldn't let people make you forget those persons. And I know I'm talking good, because some of us need to remember who fought for us, who really called your name, who really put your name in the hat. And some of us got to remember that. Don't ever forget the person that really fought for you, the person that really put it on the line. Because some of us are where we are because somebody fought for us. We know God promotes and God gives, but there's somebody else that fought for us behind the scene. And sometimes they fought for us in front of people. They did it, and they knew they would get a headbutt. They knew they would get beat up. They knew they would get slapped about it. They knew they would get put to the side, but they still fought because they believed in you. They believed in me. So they fought for us. And you can never forget those. I got a list of people I could tell you that fought for me. Then I got a list of people that I could tell you that they were acting like they were fighting, but they wouldn't fight. I know both of the lists. But there's some people that were really fighting. They were really, really going hard to make sure. And saying we want Martin to do this because you got to understand that some people just don't fight. And some of you keep forgetting who's fighting. But you got to remember who's fighting for you. All right? And so you never forget the person that fought for you. And I hope that makes sense to some of you. Because some of you done switched over to people that's not fighting for you. They really not. And I think you believe they are, but they're not. This is my last one. I'm sure you could add something to this list. The next person that you would never forget is the person who loved you when everybody else threw you away. Now I should get some thumbs ups or some amens or something. Never forget the person that loved you when everyone else threw you away. When everyone else walked out, when everyone else neglected you, when everyone else backed off of you, when you were at your lowest place and people that you thought were going to be there for you, they were not there for you. But there was somebody, not only did they fight for you, but they came to you and they rode with you through that entire storm, that entire situation in your life. They rode with you. They stuck with you. They were there for you. You should never forget them. Don't be so quick to switch people out because you think these other people got it going on. Don't ever be so quick because there's some people that loved us in the lowest point of our lives. And sometimes they loved us when stuff we did was our fault. It wasn't no fault of anybody else. It was us. But they loved us anyway. They cared for us. They were there. They talked to us. They called us when no one else would call us. They were seen with us when no one else would be seen with us. They would let people know, you are my friend. They are my friend when no one else was calling you friend. Because everyone else, they had left you. They came back later, but they didn't walk with you through that storm. And every now and then you need some people, and you got to remember who walked with you through the storm. People that loved you through that time that you knew that maybe you shouldn't have been loved, you shouldn't have been cared for. But you got to remember those people that do that. I have people now that say to me, they'll come and they say, well, I'm hanging with you. Why are you hanging with me? Because in the lowest point of my life, you told me it was going to be all right. You hung in there with me. You checked on me. You made sure I was okay. You talked me out of the place I was in because I was about to just forget it all. But you talked me out of it. Those are the people you don't forget. People that loved you through those dark places. Those places that, you like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna, you need to remember those people. I remember people that talked me completely out of some craziness. that love me in spite of. And I want to tell you something. Don't be so quick to switch people, because those type of people are rare these days. You don't have people like that these days. Because they're folk, Lord, I'm gonna get in trouble, but I'm gonna say it. They're folk that will throw you under the bus so they can get your spot. They'll throw you under the bus so they can get an elevation. They'll throw you under the bus to make themselves look good. But then there's somebody that says, I love you, you messed up, I know where you are, but I'm with you. I'm going to walk all the way with you to the end. And that's what you got to do. There was a situation with someone and some things that happened that was, I don't know if you would call it bad or whatever, but it was something. And the person was talking to a person that I knew, and they were talking about what they were going to do. And the person said to them, why are you going to do that? And he's like, huh? Said, you don't want to do that. And they explained to them why they didn't want to do it. And so, to this day, the other person that was involved in that always speaks to that person and said, I thank you. You fought for me, and not only did you fight for me, but you gave great advice, and I appreciate you. Sometimes you just got to know. I used to hear Pastor Kenneth Bacon preach about a friend. He was a master at preaching that thing about a friend. There's a friend that loveth at all times. A brother talks about a brother and a friend, and he was saying a friend is one that knows everything there is to know about you, but they still love you. That's what we got to understand. A friend can know everything there is to know about you, and they still love you. A friend can come to your house and you don't have no furniture. You sitting on those cushion pillows or whatever. But a real friend will come and sit on the pillow with you, drink the if you ain't got no iced tea, nothing to offer them, they'll drink the water with you, drink that Kool-Aid or whatever. They'll come, and if you offer them a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, they'll eat it with you and still love you in spite of what you have. Now, you got to be careful, and I'm going to get out of here, but you got to be careful, because some of you and some of us, and we're not careful, we'll get in this delusion, and we'll get this thing in our mind that everyone loves me, everyone likes me. But you need to understand, some people only like you for what you got. All right, some people only like you for what you got. They don't like you for you. And we got to sometimes you have to have discernment. Some people like you for what you got and what you can offer them, not for who you are. And some of you done gave up the people that really love you and switched over to people that just want you around for what you got. I hope y'all hearing me. So people that they love you for what you got, not because they really, they love you for what you can offer and what they can get from you. And when that's when it's no longer available, then they back off of you. And I used to say all the time, and I still say, our wisdom today has been turned backwards. The people that are genuinely concerned about you and love you and care for you, those are people we sometimes dog out. Those are people we disregard. Those are people we look at crazy. Those are people we look at funny. But the people that don't have your interests at heart, they only got and trying to get something from you and what they can get out of you, those are the people we embrace, love, and hug. And then somewhere down the line, we realize they never really were for me in the first place. That's why I say you never forget the person who loved you when everyone else threw you away. Are y'all listening at me? Never, never, never forget the person that loved you when everyone else threw you all the way away. And when I say all the way, I mean all the way. They don't call you, they don't text you, they don't do anything. They don't respond to nothing you send. And then if you see them, they be like, oh, I didn't get it. I was just busy. Nobody is that busy. We only busy when we want to be busy. All right, I'm going to get in trouble, so I better leave that alone. I said we only busy when we want to be busy. And that's why I'm holding on. I meet new people, new friends. I thank God for them. But some of my friends and some people that love me through all this, I ain't giving up on them. I ain't throwing my people that love me when y'all threw me away, not y'all, but when people threw me away, I'm not giving them up. Because those are the ones that encourage me to make it. So you hang on to people that really love you. And you gotta ask God to give you so you can discern who loves me for real. Not because of what I got. Because I'm gonna tell you something. If you know, we say if you whoever that person that just won that lottery, that 1 point whatever billion dollars or whatever it was, and I think they're gonna pocket and take with them 700 and some $1 million. Oh man, they're gonna have family members coming out the woodworks. They're gonna have friends coming out that they never knew they had. They're gonna be like, oh, you know, we cousins. No, we ain't. No, we not. You know, because people treat you certain ways when they don't think you have anything. All right, I got to get out of here, y'all, because I'm gonna mess up for real. People treat you certain ways. They do it with church. They do it in ministry. When they think you're not whatever, they sometimes they act like they ain't got time for you. But then when something big hits and the Lord does something, then all of a sudden, oh, I knew them when. I knew them when they were that. No, don't do that. Because you're the same person that would barely speak. You're the same person that would barely talk. You're the same person that didn't invite people to any events that you had. You only invited the big name people. But now all of a sudden that the Lord has blew people up and now he's elevated them and now other people like them and they got a different platform. Now all of a sudden, oh, I've been with you all the time. Now you all can be hypocritical. I don't play hypocritical. I don't do that. Because when people do that to me, I tell them, no, you weren't. You weren't with me. And I explained to them who they were with and explained in detail. And they were like, Martin. It's like, yeah, I don't do that. That's not me. I don't play those games. Because you're not gonna try to convince me all of a sudden you know, I was really no, you wasn't. No, you were not. And we need to know that. And, you know, I know some of you can't do that, but I do, but I just keep it real like that. I'm better, but I'm a very blunt person at times. Like, boom, you know. And so, but remember, and I'm going to get out of here. There are people you shouldn't forget. The person that prayed for you, the person that fed you when you were hungry, the person that fought for you, the person that loved you when everyone else threw you away. I need you to hang in there. I need you to remember these people. Sometimes you got to give a shout out to them. You got to say, hey, they've been with me. Now these people been with me, sure enough, all the time. You know, all the time they've been there. I've got some members of my church that's been there the whole time I've been there. They've been with me through the thick, the thin, the ups and downs. They've been right there. You got to know that. That's not saying anything about anybody else. That's just talking about the ones that's been with me through the thick and thin. There's some family, thick and thin. Some friends, thick and thin. Some preacher friends, some ministers, thick and thin. You just got to know who's been there with you. And don't ever forget these people. Don't ever let people, and I'm going to say this and I got to get out of here. Don't ever let people turn you against people that's really been there for you. That's a dangerous thing. I don't want to associate with anybody that tried to make me to turn against people that's really been there for me. Now, I'm not going to fight them. I'm not going to go through any changes with them. I'm going to still love them and even still talk to them. But you can't turn me against people that's really been there for me. And that's dead or alive. True story. I was talking to a person, won't say who it was, and we were talking about something. This was years ago. And I said to this person, I think the reason I got this treatment from you was because of a certain individual, and I called their name. And the person said, they said, oh no, I would never do that. And I said, well, I sort of feel that's the case, but I said, I just need you to know that I don't throw my friends under the bus, dead or alive. And I meant that. I don't throw my friends under the bus, dead or alive. I don't throw people under the bus that I know prayed for me. I don't throw people under the bus that I know fed me when I was hungry and I was down to my last. I don't throw people under the bus that fought for me. And I don't throw people under the bus that love me when everyone else backed away from me. All right? I got to get out of here, y'all. I'm sorry. I went longer than I intended to. But I pray and trust you got some out of this. Please do me a favor. Share this with somebody tonight because somebody needs to look at this over and hear it again so it can get in there so you'll know how to go and forward, how to treat people and how to do those folk that have been there for you, really been there for you, and stuff like that. I don't care if I blew up tomorrow and became the biggest thing in the world. There's certain people, I don't care how big I will become, they going with me. They can always go with me. I've said to my grandkids, they're a little older now, and even my children when they were smaller, when I first started pastoring, I would tell them, they would say, everyone else, they want to come see the pastor on Sunday morning and stuff like, they have to see the secretary and all that kind of stuff. But unless I had someone in my office, like if I had a guest or something that's different, but my doors would never close to my family, to my son, to my daughter, even to my grandkids on Sunday. It's still never closed to them. They don't have to come in and knock and see if they can make an appointment to see me. Are you kidding? These are folk that's been with me forever. These are folk that's been there. I got some members like that. They can come see me anytime. All my members got my number. I don't have no private number where they can't call me. They can call me if something's going on, call me, text me, whatever. I just don't do that. These are folk that have been there. These are folk that have helped. And so my kids, they don't have to do that. They don't have to come in. Can I see the pastor? No, they just come right on in. My grandkids come right on in. Why? Because I don't ever want to get so big that I forget the people that were really there with me. And some of us, we don't do that. We allow people to pull us in the wrong direction. And we forget people that's really been there. thick and thin. Tears, crying, almost in a breakdown state. Don't let people make you forget them. All right. I got to get out of here. I'm out, y'all. Thank you so much for joining. I see Elder Ransom. God bless you. Let me see. I see a couple people here. Sister Campbell, still praying for you. Sister Winifred Jones, thank you. I saw Big Ben here earlier. Big Ben, if you still here, you can call me tomorrow. I'm available. I've got some. I'll do Bible study tomorrow night, but I'm available during the day. You can give me a call if need be. All right, y'all. Now let me ask y'all a question. Did y'all get some out of this? If y'all did, do me a favor. Now you see that thing right there. It's right there. It says Check In Monday, and it says Cash App, and it says $DLMSR. Now, if this has blessed you, I don't do this for that, but if you got anything from it, why don't you cash out me something? You know this was good for you tonight. You know it's going to be something that's going to help you. Then cash out me something tonight. Put something on that and send me. Let me hear the cash app go off. All right, cash out me something. $DLMSR. Cash out me 5, 10, 15, 20. Somebody might want to do more. Somebody came to church yesterday and said, I came to service. They're not a member, and they watch us online. They said, I came to church, and because I wanted to send this to you last week, they came at the church and shook some money in my hand, and so I had to bring this personally and put it in your hands because of the blessing you are. And so if this has blessed you, then do that tonight. Look at that and be a blessing tonight with the Cash App. All right. Well, I'm going to get out of here. Tomorrow night, we'll be in Bible study at 7 p.m. You want to join us? We'll be Bible study tomorrow night. And then this coming Sunday, let me say this to you. Those of you that join us every Sunday, thank you so much for joining us. This Sunday coming is the 20th of August. And it is always a special day for me because August 20th, 3 years ago, I was admitted to the hospital with COVID-19. And that was on a Thursday, and that Friday night they put me over in ICU. I was in the hospital 10 days, hooked up to all this stuff and giving me all this stuff, whatever, plasma and all kind of whatever this stuff. It was crazy. But the Lord brought me out, and, you know, I'm 3 years later, I've recouped basically fully. Every now and then I have a little breathing issue, but basically sort of recoup my lungs, back functioning fully almost. And so Sunday was special to me. Every time the 20th comes, it's a special day for me because I lost a dear friend that same day and lost so many people that I knew to the virus and other things. And so I'm just glad to be alive. And so I praise God for that. And I give him glory and honor that he's allowed me to still be in the land of the living. And so please, by all means, keep me in your prayers. Keep hanging out with us. And I pray and trust again that this has been a blessing to you in some kind of way and that you receive something from this Check-In Monday. And let's never forget the people in our lives that have made a difference in our lives. May God bless you, and may all God's choice blessings